everyone. It's Rob Golfi here with REMAX, the Golfi team, and we got Lynsey Foster here, Foster Living and she's also with REMAX, and she's got her own team going, and we're here to chat not just about real estate, everything in general. So, Lynsey.
Rob, how was your weekend?
It was good.
Are you a Super Bowl guest or host?
I'm a guest.
Okay.
So I did see the Super Bowl. I'm not a big sports guy, but obviously playoffs for hockey, I'll watch a little bit of hockey. I do like football better than hockey.
Okay.
I do like watching, but I only like watching quarterbacks that are good quarterbacks. I like watching it. I don't have a favorite team.
Yep.
My favorite team is the great quarterbacks of that. So if there's 5 great quarterbacks in the NFL, I will watch those 5 teams if they happen to be on the TV at the time that I'm looking at TV and stuff like that.
Performance driven.
Performance driven, yeah.
Okay.
Performance driven, yeah. I went to a buddy's, and I left there in between the third and fourth quarter, and just finished watching it at home. I just wanted to. I like it. I'm great. Like enjoying the company. It wasn't a big thing. It was just kind of just hang out, watch football and stuff like that. But
I caught some heat on our escarpment Facebook because people were looking for open houses, and I was like, "Yo, like Super Bowl." And then it came to my attention a few days later that like Super Bowl started at my children's bedtime. Yeah. So we were hosts. And I'm always a gracious host, and I love having a house full of people, and we had such great food and lovely company, but it's fucking 11 o'clock, like on a school night. Go home. Why don't they start this shit at 2?
I know. Well, it's at 3 o'clock in
Vegas.
In Vegas. And then I was just talking to my assistant. She said she didn't even get home till 1 o'clock last night.
No, I woke up this morning and I was like, well, I have to cancel with Rob because I'm so fucking ugly and I can't turn this around because I had company until 11 on a school night. But
you look good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And was it exhilarating? I don't know. Some interesting.
It was a tough game.
Tough game.
That game could have gone either way. Apparently, what my friends were saying, the 49ers were favored to win. So and they came out looking pretty good at the beginning. Like it was a back and forth game. Like it was tough. Without, I guess, the fumbles and all that kind of stuff, who knows where that direction that game would have gone.
Yeah, I was only paying half attention. We got 5 offers on a listing in Cambridge last night.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed the Usher halftime show while putting together a spreadsheet of 5 people's worth of variables.
I didn't really I recognized maybe one song or something like that. I didn't really recognize the songs. Like I like Usher. I think he's a great singer, but I think, there's a call, another sale. I better shut this off. So, but I think that I didn't recognize like Usher was, I think, a good choice, and they wanted to be safe. They didn't want anybody that's going to be controversial.
Mm-hmm. Taylor was busy.
I think Taylor's bigger than the Super Bowl now.
We did point out though, like no flying, no fire. Like they broke the bank on roller skates this year, which I thought was interesting because what was the huge wow factor? Now there were a lot of big names on that stage.
Yes, there were.
And I can't do this.
I'm surprised Justin Bieber didn't get on that stage.
That's what we heard was supposed to be the thing. We were getting a Justin Bieber baby moment.
You know what it is? I think football fans are not a big fan of Bieber. Mm-hmm. Like he's got his own
He's a hockey boy.
Yeah, and he's got his own fan base, and I think that fan base is not into football. So it and I don't know, like my wife's a big Justin Bieber fan, so she probably knows.
She's a believer.
She's a believer.
You're a Swiftie.
She probably knows the date of birth of him.
Oh my God,
everything.
don't say.
Yeah,
I really like that because Scott's like one of his go-tos for like music that when you kind of need to know the words because you have to concentrate. He would pick Justin Bieber all day, and we give him a lot of shit for it.
He knows the words to all of his songs.
Well, yeah, but he's not singing. Like, when you need to put your nose down and get stuff done and you need background noise, that's what he would pick because it doesn't require much thought.
Yeah.
But we give him a lot of shit for it.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so the Super Bowl was okay. It brought up an interesting trope in our household, though, and I think you'll like this. So we've got a 7-year-old, and she had 2 little girlfriends over, and they just, couldn't get over how great Taylor Swift looked. Yeah. And I sat all 3 of these girls down, and I said, ladies, she has spent all day with a team of people. Okay. And like, I'm looking at these little girls molding these minds. And we had a real big family conversation about why Taylor Swift looks like $1 million. And if everybody had full-time hair, makeup, and outfit coordinators.
Yeah.
And it's also a football game.
Yeah. But you know what? I got to tell you something. Everybody's making a big deal about her, and the haters and the people that like. I don't mind Taylor Swift. I think she's great. She's got good music. She's talented. There's no doubt about it. She's a great songwriter. But the NFL, that now people are basically like judging her and hating her because the camera's on her. And it's not her doing that. It's the NFL. And the NFL's doing it because they know more people are watching because they want to see her.
Oh, the viewership stats are like
it's amazing. Like even the I guess the NFL freaking president, I don't know, whatever you call him, he was saying that she's probably brought 30% more viewership and everything. Like it's like, I mean, it's the most watched of all Super Bowls ever.
Really? And it's free PR too. Like they couldn't have paid for this. There's not a commercial in the world.
And then so it's like, I mean, Taylor's just there, and I think she's genuinely excited when she sees, Travis Kelce, make a play, or the team make a play and win a play and all that kind of stuff. I think she's genuinely like, she's there like any other football player's girlfriend or wife, excited and jumping around. And it's just that when the team does something well, they got the camera on her, and I guarantee you, they got a camera on her full time.
Oh, the entire time.
They're just directly recording. They just could just switch it right to their So I just feel like if anybody, don't be hard on that girl. She's not the one that's asking for the camera on her. Like
no,
no,
I don't think that she needs any more publicity. That's not her MO.
No,
but I know. I was trying to dig into if this was an Aries thing, if there was a horoscope sign we could pull into, because it gets to the end of it, and I wish that everyone could win, Rob. Like,
I know.
Watching those men who just put it all on the field get spit with confetti while they cry into their laps.
I know, it's tough. When you make it that far.
Oh, it ruins it for me.
It does. It does. It's tough. But you know what? Losing is part of life because you can't win at everything. It's just like even myself in business, all my life, I've won in a lot of businesses, and some of them I didn't win, and I lost money, and so that's just part of life. And same thing with kids. I mean, I think losing is good because it shows them that you got to work harder and strive to get better and to be that number one, or to be like whether it's track and field or whether it's baseball, like whatever, you got to try to be your best at what you do. And same thing with you and I in real estate. I mean, I listen to podcasts. We look at information. We try to better ourselves, trying to, not only help our clients to better service them, but also to get more business. It's all about that.
And we learn from our losses. You're right.
For sure.
We learn way more from your losses. Well, on that note, let's move on to last week as a whole. You told me that you were doing some property evals. Anything like super cool, fun, exciting?
I'm not sure if I talked about this before, but I just can't believe. So did I tell you about the one guy who used to work at Miracle Mart that called me? Was that? No. So I get this one guy calls me up. Now, I worked at Miracle Mart. Now, for the young ones out there that don't know what Miracle Mart is, it's like a grocery store that was way back in the 70s and 80s and maybe the 90s also. And I think A&P bought them or whatever. So they're a grocery store, big grocery store chain in Canada. So this guy calls me up. He's from Fort Erie, and he says, "Hey, Rob, how you doing? It's Thomas calling." And I go, "Hey, how's it going? I don't know if you remember me." And I'm like, I can't, and he goes, "Yeah, we worked at Miracle Mart together." Like, maybe I might, if I see him, I might recognize him. This guy's in his 80s now. So he was a full-time worker there. I was a part-time worker there. And he's talking to me like I talk to this guy all the time. I have no.
And it's been 30 years more.
Yeah. Let's just keep it 30. Let's just keep it there.
Fair.
And he's telling me, and then I'm talking to him about, oh yeah, I remember this girl and Barb, and yeah, she was a cutie, and the manager used to flirt with her, and everybody would flirt with her, and he goes, that was my sister. Oh yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ.
She was a good looking lady. Like I'm telling you, I was like 17 years old.
Okay.
17 years old, working there part-time. And she was probably, I would imagine she was probably maybe 40s, 45, 50s, maybe, I don't know. But good-looking lady. And but he tells me, yeah, did you ever go to the Christmas parties there? And I'm thinking in my head, I didn't even know there was a Christmas party at these things because I didn't pay attention. I'm a kid, right? I'm only thinking about hanging out with my friends after work, not going to a company Christmas party.
Sure.
But so anyway, he's calling me and I'm talking to him and everything. Now, the one thing I can't understand, how does this guy know my name from way back there? Like, I'm in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And like, do you really care about like a high school kid? Like how do you, like, it's not like I was a realtor back then advertising, say, hey, I'm going to be a realtor in the future. Like, he remembered my name. And then I got these other people, so I'm chatting with him, but then I get this other family. The son tells the mother, call Rob Golfi. So he was in grade 9 and I was in grade 10 at the high school. I don't even know this guy. Like, how does he know? But how does he remember me from high school? Like, I'm curious. I wish I could look back at myself, like in a time warp, to see how, like, so many people remember me back then, but I was just like anybody else.
You're just doing your thing.
Just doing my thing. Like, what did I do to impact to this guy to remember me? I am the same guy that I went to high school versus the guy today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm getting a lot of calls like that. And I just don't get it. Like, are people going through the yearbook and see who's a realtor today? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, your face plastered on the side of the fucking bus is probably a cute reminder. But
yeah,
are they looking for a deal? Are they saying we knew you?
No. But the thing is, they know who they know that's Rob Golfi today. But do they know I was Rob Golfi back then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm getting a lot of that, and it's weird. And I wish. Like I said, I could see myself. It's like, what's that one that Chevy Chase that he's going back in time and he sees himself like the Grinch. Remember, they go back and how bad I didn't treat anybody bad. Did you? That's an old movie. Forget it. You won't know that. That's an old movie. That's 2 generations. But anyway, this guy goes on a time warp of looking at himself from the past, and he wasn't a very good person. But I would like to find out how exactly I was.
You've done something right. You set that impression.
I did. I know I was a nice guy. I wasn't a bully. I wasn't anybody that was causing problems. I had friends that were not good guys, but I didn't participate in any of their bullshit or bad shit. But yeah, like it's just weird. It's just weird when you get older.
Yes.
And you're gonna find that people are going to call you and you're going to you have no idea who this person is. And they'll recognize who, and they remember you from something.
I'm going to refute that though. And you want to know why? Because I had to change my name.
Oh, you're really mixed up the whole world.
But think about this, right? Because if someone's looking for Lynsey Breitweiser, they're not going to find her. So there's an interesting. Like,
you changed your name to is that your maiden name?
Yeah. So,
but.
So I got to work twice as hard to now re-coordinate Lynsey Foster with Breitweiser. Yeah. And I never really thought about that. That's a man-lady situation. I do love that you worked at a grocery store, though. I don't know if you know this about me, but I sowed my oats for 10 years at Shoppers Drug Mart.
Oh, wow.
And I think there's something about coming from like that service industry, like retail service into real estate. When I meet realtors who haven't like been a checkout or a stock person, I'm like, you don't know how dumb the general public can be if you haven't stuck yourself in a grocery store, car dealership, Shoppers Drug Mart. So that probably got us both.
So you got some great discounts at the store?
I think when I was there, it was like 30% if it wasn't on sale.
That's not bad.
And this is before like mass makeup came. Like there wasn't a Sephora at this time. So like having a Shoppers plug was a big deal. Yeah. But I really enjoyed working there. I always joked like 30-second conversations. When you're at a cash register, you become the master of 30-second conversation.
If somebody's waiting in line, they don't want to hear your, they want to get going.
They want to run through it.
No kidding.
And there's funny shit to say. You're at Shoppers Drug Mart. Like people are buying weird stuff. And I was never one to shy away from pointing out that like, you're buying condoms again,
Can you tell me where the enema is?
This is it. Exactly. And of course I knew where they were. Aisle 2, bottom shelf.
I have fungus. Where do I get the fungi?
It's a very like personal place to be. And yeah, almost 10 years that I spent there. I was held at gunpoint once when I was working at Shoppers Drug Mart.
How was that?
Bizarre. And I'll never forget, the detective came in and said to us, if we find him. And I remember I was a young woman and I was like, what do you mean? If I've gone through this harrowing event. Of course, they never found him. And I'm sure that there was $30 in my till, but
no kidding.
That's one of my stories from a past life.
Has that affected you having a gun, somebody pointing a gun or having a gun, being robbed? Did you like go, oh my God, like I have to have therapy for that?
No, Rob, I'm not afraid of anything.
That's it. You'll chase the guy down.
Yeah, fuck that shit. There's very little that's financial ruin is really the only.
Piss their pants.
I could understand that, and I could see a PTSD aspect. They did send us a therapist when it happened.
Now you role play with your husband. Say, honey,
no, I don't.
Come home.
No, I say I got a gun.
Come home with a mask and a gun, please. I really want to be taken home.
So funny. No, but I really, truly, it makes me think like when
you're probably got that. Because that messes people's minds up, and you're saying, I kind of like that feeling. That
I didn't like the feeling. I just wasn't afraid of the skinny punk that needed $25.
Yeah.
But I do have like a particular stance on guns. Are very scary to me. I think if I had one readily available, I'd be likely to use it.
I've never shot a gun in my life. Never shot one.
I don't want to be associated with it. And because they never found the guy. There's not much to talk about because, like, was it even real? Like, who knows, right?
Like, did he ask you your driver's license? I know where you live, so you better not say anything.
He didn't say a damn thing.
Yeah, he was too scared.
But I knew everybody that came in, right? So I was like, who are you? What are you doing here? You got in a pro line? That's just like my big fucking mouth on me.
No shit.
I had a really cool evaluation last week. I was one of 3 agents called in to do an estate listing.
Okay.
And the best/worst thing happened. I was lower than the other 2 agents.
Oh.
And I don't think that happens all the time. Like there's no rhyme or reason.
No. So your number was lower than the other 2.
Absolutely. My commission was about the same.
Yeah.
My plan and program was, as always, head and shoulders more than the other people offered. But on a mid-price property, I was about $30,000 off from my competition. And so a woman who is grieving a loss. This is an estate sale. This isn't somebody's house, who will effectively have to divvy up the funds from this home infinite ways. There's, you know how it is. Everyone's got their hand out. And they asked that. She said, why is it not worth 5? I said 470.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I showed the comps again. And again, when you're grieving and you're picking over a house of someone that you've loved who's just passed, you're not really concerned with data. And so I had to fold up the portfolio and say, they want you to sign their paperwork. There's no other nice way to say this.
Yeah.
They chose a whole number. I disagree with it fundamentally. Yeah. I'm right. And she said to me, well, why would they tell me it's worth 500? And we had to go over that, it's possible, ma'am, that they just wanted you to sign their documents.
They wanted to sign so they can and then they'll beat her up on the price after. And
they'll come for you with price reduction.
And that's what happens. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we get that. So we just had the same thing. An agent gave a quote of $529,000 to list. We said, go at 500. And then she even said, she goes, you probably get an offer at 500. I go, why don't you list at 500? Maybe you might get 500 or more. Mm-hmm. I go, why go at 529? It sits on the market longer. And then people,
Well, this is what you're running against. You're running against days on market, which are polarizing for our buyers. They see 10 days on market. You may as well stick a coupon on the front door. Yeah. And then the other piece is, we haven't had any fucking snow, Rob. Everybody waits for nice weather to list their houses.
And look, fucking, I know we're getting lucky with this weather.
And so if you're waffling over $30,000, that's not chump change. That's big money.
Yeah.
Though when it's divided up across an entire multi-generational family, it's not quite as much. Yeah. But to wait to say maybe I'll get a little bit more. The inventory that's going to pop up with this weather is, and we already see it happening.
So I've got a Zoom meeting with an agent on my team and with a potential seller, and there was another agent indicating and saying that we're not this, they are, and I'm going, oh wow, this guy's a
little slander.
Oh, slander, but full blown lie. So I said to my agent, I says, you get that seller on a Zoom call, and we're going to show whose numbers are what.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, listen, I don't lie. I'm going to tell you exactly what we're about. Mm-hmm. But if this guy's lying to you about what he's about, I says, it's your choice if you want to deal with a guy like that. And I'm not going to slander anybody, and I'm not going to put anybody down. But now you're sending me, you're indicating to me that this guy is slandering and saying that we don't do the business. And I go, game on. That's it. Game on.
It's funny you mentioned that because last year's stats came out about last week. And so there was like a little bit of social media hullabaloo. For example, your collective moved the most units in all of the Hamilton Burlington board last year. You took the #1 slot out of our, 3,700 agents.
Yeah.
I took number 46. Nice. So like, I'll take that and
Good
run.
For you.
And it's interesting, as those stats come out, you can read them many different ways. They make a point of putting the fact that this is a unit total in like a very fair font in a smaller size, right? So it's like, there's so many ways to measure what we do. But I noticed there were a lot of people in my age group, in our industry, that maybe didn't have a stat to post. They didn't rank for volume. Yeah. They didn't rank for GCI. And so instead they were posting videos about why those things don't matter.
Oh, yeah.
So my girlfriend and I had a glass of wine and got pretty deep into Instagram. And like, we're just looking at all of my peers making videos about why.
Agony of defeat.
How much volume somebody else moved isn't relevant. And all
hey, listen, I didn't make up that thing. Everybody else came out with it. And you know what? It's same thing with like the top 100. Once I hit the top 100, I was striving to be the #1. It's kind of like a gauge. Mm-hmm. It's kind of gauge like you're doing the right thing. So now if you drop down, then you're going, okay, what's everybody else doing right? And why did I drop?
Yeah.
What happened there? It's kind of, it's like a gauge of everything. And I get it. People, if they're not on, if it's volume or unit numbers or whatever, and they didn't make it, listen, don't do the agony of defeat. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Everybody wants more. It is just some people have the willing to go more and go after it versus other ones. But don't put it down. Like I'm telling you, like if you're in sales is the best. No matter what company, no matter what you're selling, it's unlimited what you can make. Mm-hmm. And but like when people are putting down, people like you and I, mm-hmm. saying, who cares about, what unit numbers or what volume you did? You know what?
I care. That's how my family eats,
that's
actually.
Right. That's right.
And it's an important part of my marketing. But I think it's interesting that those stats can get twisted so many different ways. Like, have you ever seen one that says, like, I'm the #1 agent for my brokerage at this specific office on the left side of the building? Like, people dig pretty fucking deep to get something to brag about.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. And I tell people, so sometimes we do, we call it win in any market. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, listen, you can say you're #1. So first, if you're with the #1 brokerage, like, REMAX, Escarpment, REMAX, Niagara, fantastic. And REMAX is #1 in Canada. So you could say, we're the #1 brokerage, and you're part of that. Or if you sell a house on the street and nobody else has sold a house on that street, you could say #1, and then in small fine print on let's say Rebecca Street.
For the week of February 7th to 14th.
And you could you can hang up the #1 sign there, and then you got the fine print, your disclaimer on there. Because everybody's #1.
Well, and that's why it's hurtful to say somebody would be questioning your stats, because the truth is, like, the stat is what you make of it.
Right. But if you are an agent and you don't have those credentials, use whatever credential you can make up. Mm-hmm. Like, use the office credential, use the brokerage, use the REMAX, use whatever, and you got the power behind you. Yeah. But again, like, people think, oh, I don't have that. They have it all. They just got, like, I mean, if you're at a brokerage that has 0 and, and your brokerage has got 0, I would highly switch to another.
Find something somewhere that you can brag about.
Move to another brokerage. Yeah, but it's so nice here, and they treat me well. Yeah, they treat you well because they don't want you to leave, because they've got nobody else wanting to join them.
What is treated well? Like, is it a fucking coffee machine? Like, are they sending you on vacation? What is well? We all work for ourselves.
Yeah, listen, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. When I first started in real estate, mm-hmm. I got a little tiny office. 1 chair, 1 desk, and a chair for me to sit in. That's all you could fit in there. It was like going in. It was like a small interrogation room.
It feels like a prison cell.
Yeah. So I closed that door and I was dialing like crazy on the phones. I didn't leave the door open and start shooting the breeze. When I started, I was broke when I started. I didn't have much money, and I had to, because all my money went through all the businesses I had because of the recession that happened and everything. So I had to hustle. I had
and you had
choice.
Mouths to feed. You made bodies.
4 kids.
Yeah.
4 kids. I helped the population of Canada. And all 4 kids are productive too. They actually contribute to the CPP and
love that for you.
For the people that are retiring now.
Yes.
So
all 4 Golfi children, functioning Canadian citizens.
That's it.
Okay, I love that. Have you looked on YouTube lately?
I was flipping around it a couple of times this week.
Okay, so our 3 posted videos have over 6,500 views combined.
Oh, wow.
I know. And then Scotty told me that, and I was like, okay, well, that means nothing to me. And so then I was like pawing around, and I was like, hey, that's not like too shabby.
No, it's getting some traction.
And
there.
like,
thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. I hope we keep you entertained. And like, no one said anything foul to me personally yet. I had a few people ask what the heck we're doing together, and I just said,
I know,
like,
everybody's, like, where did this chick come from?
Who the fuck is Lynsey? Yeah,
where did this chick come from? What is she about? Like, what's the?
Well, and the people that know me, I just said, like, can you think of 2 smarter, funnier people to put together? Like, it really is a perfect match. But no, I didn't get any like direct flack. But we got a nasty one.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Let's hear it.
Okay. And I think you should speak to it, because
okay, go ahead.
If we're hurting people's feelings or saying things that are off color, I think that we would like to know.
Yeah.
But somebody in a bad mood has made some accusations, and I don't think that they're accurate. So a lady named Pam, it's a whole Pam situation.
Are you saying Pan or Pam?
She said that she cannot believe the racism, xenophobia, and NIMBYism coming out of Rob Golfi's mouth. It's disgusting, and she's not going to listen anymore. So I want you to lay into Pam. But I looked back, and I don't think we were racist or xenophobic.
No. So she says that she doesn't want to listen to me anymore.
No more.
Okay. Well, she wasn't listening in the first place. I want to say that, because she misunderstood. But and she's using a couple of big words in there. So she's obviously either a teacher or some sort of lawyer or something like that, and engineer and something like that. So anyway, Pam. You ever seen Seinfeld? The guy, Kramer, says, Pam, I like Pam.
Pam. Pam. Pam.
And Step Brothers, the whole Pam situation.
Yeah.
Pam.
Anyway, Pam, listen. I'm a son of an immigrant parents. Now, I did not at all. I am the least racist person, because I like immigration. I appreciate it, because I wouldn't be here if my parents weren't immigrated. And they immigrated this country. They met here, and I was born. And I am a product of society that I'm contributing to. Now, what you misunderstood, Pam, is that I was saying that when my parents came here, my dad's village, where he came from in Italy, most of them moved to Montreal. And so he went to Montreal. But then he had some relatives that moved to Niagara Falls. Okay. So my dad was in Montreal for probably about a year, and then he decided to go to Niagara Falls, because there was Italians there also in Niagara Falls, because they migrated there. And we know that Niagara Falls has got a strong Italian population. So does Hamilton, so does Montreal, and so does Toronto. So I was saying, now if I'm racist, I was just saying Italians go where the Italians are, because they're familiar with not only the culture, but the language. They can go there, and if they don't speak English, they have people that will help them guide their way to wherever they have to go. Okay, am I on track on this?
Yeah, like, was she judging you for your opinion on immigration?
Yeah, so, and that's why I was naming Europeans. I was naming Greeks, Italians, and Chinese, and everything. That's why they have Greek Town. That's why they have Chinatown. That's why they have Little Italy. That's why they have all these, and they're great cultures to go to. Now, Pam, if you feel that was racism, then you know what? You didn't I don't.
She's not listening anymore anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
So she's not gonna hear this.
Do you know what NIMBYism is?
What the fuck is that?
Okay, I'll explain it to you. So it's an acronym.
Yeah.
And it means not in my backyard. So
she's saying it's not. Don't talk about this in my backyard.
No, she is accusing us of having the mindset that the bad things that are happening in the cities, let's say with regards to housing the unhoused, as a good example. Yeah. Homelessness is usually the leading trope, but that we would be of the mindset that we don't want that in our backyard, which makes us bigots. But I think what most of our conversations have been centered around is actually that we don't have a solution to the problem. Right. Our empathy runs really deep.
But these are news articles that are in the paper. So we're just talking about this. Is not something we're making up.
No, absolutely.
This was in the Globe and Mail. This was in the Hamilton Spectator. This was in the Niagara Falls Review, St. Catharines Standard. This was in the Financial Post. So we're talking about stuff that's actually happening. We're not making this shit up. It is actually happening out there, and we're just talking about it. So I mean, Pam, like you don't talk about stuff that's happening, or do you just stay home and...
She's not forming opinions on it. She's probably...
But listen, Pam, I'm sorry I offended you, but the one thing, you really hurt me, and I'll stand up to you, and I'll like to meet you in person. I am not racist. I am far from it, because I am a product of parents. My parents, they had to deal with racism when they first came, and believe me, when I see an immigrant come to this country, I say, good for you, and I hope life's good for you, just like it was for my parents.
Hope life's good. I wish
and I'm sorry I offended you, okay? But please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd like to talk more about it.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to lose. On the NIMBYism note, though, you sent me an interesting article. Not a pivot, because this is still a bleeding heart conversation, but there was a property in the news. It's located in the Brampton, North Toronto area, and in the article, it explained that there was a room rental.
It's a house rental.
It's a house rental that appears to be more rooming house.
Yes, yeah.
And for people that don't understand that, so like, let's say you've got a 6-bedroom mansion that also has like a den, a dining room, and a basement with a bathroom. Now all of a sudden you have a 12-bedroom house to rent out one at a time. Mm-hmm. But these guys took it a step further, and it's why it got into the news. They are renting a space in the driveway where someone is living in a sedan.
In a car. In
the
driveway. They're renting out rooms or beds or whatever. This is in Toronto, in surrounding area. I'm not saying where the location is, but it's showing that we have too many people in this country without housing or can't afford it. And they're pissing around the outside of the house, these people.
Well, I think that's what caught everyone's attention.
Yeah. And nobody wants neighbors doing this. Nobody wants this as your next door neighbor. Mm-hmm. And part of this is, I'm not going to get into politics, because that's the one thing you don't get into politics or religion, but they got to stop the immigration in this country to get this sorted. Now, another article came in the paper indicating that there's hotels, big hotels in Toronto, maybe not downtown Toronto, but in and around the GTA, that have immigrants and refugees living in them, and the city of either the government is asking for these hotels to extend for these people to live there, because they have no place to go. So these hotels are getting super rich. Think about this. Now, if you had to rent a hotel room for 30 days, how expensive would that be? And that's us paying for it.
You don't think they're cutting them a rate?
They're getting they're cutting a rate, but I mean, how much of a rate? Like, think, even if it's $200 or $150 a night, like $150 times 30 days. I mean, we're looking at $3,500 or more a month. Well, per room.
And we're both blessed that we haven't had to immigrate to Canada. We were born here. But imagine you're surprised you get off a plane or a boat and you find out you're going to Toronto. And obviously there's been plans made. You're coming here. There's some kind of visa. But people are landing in Toronto without a jacket. Well, in January, and they're telling them get to the Radisson.
Yeah. No
what a
kidding.
confusing, horrible day.
No kidding. You say, hey, why do I need to get a job? I'll just stay at the Radisson. And guess what? And they get restaurant food every single day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All, and the hotel supplies all that. And guess who pays the bill? It's us. Now, the old days, the normal days was if somebody would get here, and if you wanted to bring, your family over, you had to sponsor them. They say, hey, listen, you can bring your family, but you're going to have to take care of them. You're going to have housing. You're going to have everything. Just like when my parents came here, they had to make sure when they were bringing their brothers and sisters and everybody else, they had to sponsor them to come here. Okay. So they say, okay. So my dad actually ended up having, I think, 2 houses at one time. So he brought his brothers and sisters over. And slowly, and they had housing. No, there was nothing on the government wasn't paying for any of that. Why aren't we still doing that?
Well, does that mean that the folks that are living in the hotels are refugees? They don't have.
Well, they're refugees. The refugees, obviously, and they had problems in their countries. But but the problem is, we can't accept anybody new. We need to. We we got a problem with the housing in this country. And what, you're going to fill them up in hotels? That's how bad it is. We got people that need housing, and they're in hotels, and the government's flipping the bill for this.
Oh,
that's
Rob,
expensive.
So last week we talked about the 3 folks in Canada that have made a real hot mess of some rental options, and the gentleman with the real estate license owned a building in Hamilton.
Yeah.
So I was running around doing some errands this weekend.
Well, just to hold on. Did you see the next day he hit the front page again, saying how he was jet setting around and
videos with Kanye taking shots.
Yeah.
Somebody at CBC has dug their teeth deep into this, and they're really enjoying the hunt. Since Rob and I spoke, if you were wondering if they were partying, the answer was resounding fuck yes. They were everywhere doing everything, but nonetheless. So there is this derelict building owned by one of these gentlemen. It's attached to it's the Pizza at the Delta. That's what he owns.
No shit.
You know that big, huge building across from Gage Park. So that is.
Shit. And that's been empty
forever. Now, that Delta, for anyone that knows, our city is mostly a grid system, but then there's these weird ass triangles in the middle. Yeah. That triangle points to another triangle where it used to be a No Frills. It's now a Dollarama.
That's right.
There is an entire tent city
right there
on that island. Yeah. Now, that tent city is now perpendicular to the right to approximately, I would guess, between 40 and 60 units of residential rental housing that are completely empty. But you know what it's across the road from? The seniors' home that's boarded up. So these people are living outside and within 10 feet of them. So I hear putting a stop on immigration. It's not something that we would ever have an opinion on because we don't make those decisions. But
we have to catch up.
You're saying that we're spending resources to put folks in hotels and make sure they're fed. This is important. It's our obligation.
Yes.
But check out the resources that could get everybody into these buildings. There's 2 of them beside each other.
But we had a hold on builders building houses because of the interest rates and everything. Like there's developers and builders are going bankrupt out there because they maybe over leverage themselves and and they can't handle it. And so let's stop with the immigration. And then let's catch up and get the housing going, and then bring the immigration back. But they're not stop. They're not there. Did you see the graph? It says immigration's up high and new housing is low.
Well, and not to flip too much, but let's take that new housing into what the builders are experiencing right now. I had a guy call me last week. He has 3 pre-cons coming. You can't close on any of them.
Yeah. A lot of people are in that situation where they bought these condos 3-4 years ago, and now they have to take possession.
Yep.
And they can't close.
So let's explain that to the public. Maybe they can't close because the mortgage rate has changed and they're not going to qualify for that $600,000. Maybe their life circumstances have changed and they don't have the rest of the cash they thought they would need it.
Yeah.
Also, these builders have a pretty long leash in Canada. And so I've had clients thinking that in 2 years they'd get a new condo, but really it was more like 7. So I think there's a change of life circumstances for some buyers.
Yeah.
But the real problem is the fucking speculators.
Oh yeah, they got hit hard. These are guys that usually, when there's a pyramid scheme coming and you're the last one in, that's what these guys are. And then the occupancy, how much they have to pay.
Oh God.
So literally, and a lot of people don't know this. When you buy a condo, before you actually take title, you literally got to rent. When you get possession of it, but you don't get title of it, but you have to pay kind of like a rent to the developer
while they file the paperwork,
while they get everything in order, and you can end up paying that rent for like maybe 6 months.
I've had 18 months
and that's brutal. Think about it. You take possession, you got occupancy, but you don't have title. So as soon as you take title, you start paying your mortgage down and whatever. But this is crap. I don't know. I don't think did I ever buy a no, I've never bought a condo. And I did buy a condo on a guarantee one time. Okay. But I owned it and sold it within 30 days, and that was it. But I'm not. I'm not a big fan of buying condos as an investment, just because of the condo fees. They get too high, and it doesn't cover itself when you rent it.
No, Scotty bought a new build once, but it was on assignment, so they were already through most of that. I think some of the things that the builders are allowed to do here are a little bit predatory, the occupancy being one of them, but also the fact that other folks were trying to make their millions off of buying entire floors of pre-construction and now can't close on it. I mean, it creates like a pretty vicious cycle.
It's all called risk. That's it. There's big gains, big gains, or you could lose, and that's it. It's just the way it is. You have to understand when you're investing. You're taking a chance. It doesn't matter what it is. I've invested in real estate in my entire life from when I was 20 years old till today. And probably I've broken even on 2 deals and lost maybe 2-3% on another one, but everything else I made money. So I've had a pretty good real estate investment career when into buying and selling real estate myself. So I can't complain about that.
So forget the villains. If I was Lynsey Foster and I needed to close on a building that was coming due and my mortgage wasn't coming together right now, what suggestions might you have for me?
I would try to make a deal with the developer some way or somehow, or bring in a partner, do something. Don't wait when it's too late. You can't close, and then you get repossessed. Chances are you got about $50,000 as a deposit. You're going to lose that. And the developers right now, they are coming after you, because it's not just you. It's like 20 to 40, depending how big the building is, and they're going to go after everybody. So you got to be very careful. Now, if you were just a one-off, they'll probably take your $50,000, say, sorry, we'll sell it to somebody else and continue. They probably won't chase you for the difference, but they're chasing everybody, and they're going to win.
Well, and I think that a lot of the people that are buying on spec don't realize that the assignment builder to builder is so different. So some builders don't care. By all means, give it to whoever you want. They don't think twice. Yeah. Other folks want incredible tax amounts. They want chunks of your deposit. And so I'm meeting people that, if you've bought 3 or 4, you could be in it for $500,000 at this point. And if you can't close, they're liable to lose all of that.
Well, like you said, they can't close because of interest, and they can't close because it's not worth what it is. So if you bought a $700,000 condo and it's only worth $500,000 today,
why would you want that?
You know what I mean? But you will get sued. You will get sued, and that's the last thing you want.
And there's still people living in fucking tents.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I said this before. We're a rich country with a third world, living like third world. I'm telling you.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, and thank God that we're having sunny weather. It could be much worse.
That's it.
See you next week.
You got it, girl.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening.